Hello and welcome to the Build with Baer Workshop. My name is Pat Baer. I'm here to build model kits and hang out with you. I hope you're having a great Saturday evening. We're going to wait a few minutes, see if folks want to trickle in. If you're here in the chat, you can throw a Bear Cave emote or a Lego emote if you are currently a subscriber. If you're not, well, you can throw whatever you want in there. Just say hi, whatever you want to do. Harold, thank you very much for the host. We're going to hang out for a couple minutes, see if a few folks want to join us. Anybody else? Hello, hello, KMO. Thank you for that. This is the chair cave, indeed. Harold's here. Epic Open World is here. Hi, it's been a little bit. Hi, Epic Open World. Happy to have you here. I know that there might be some folks that tonight decided to watch the new wrestling that happens, which I understand, and it's Saturday night pay-per-view. You gotta watch that. I get it and understand. So maybe we won't have the big crowd on a Saturday night. Not that we ever have super big crowds, but we always have a few folks joining us. Mostly I hope people hang out tonight because one, it's nice to have you, and two, we're gonna try something new. So we have the Lavatien here from Full Metal Panic that we're building, and so we've got legs to put on here and all that. So Epic Open World, pay-per-view is just an easy way to say it. But yeah, I mean, there are still cable companies that their on-demand services are technically pay-per-views. I guess like ITV and stuff like that. I mean, there's internet streaming as well. But you can still watch things through your cable box. But yeah, there is a wrestling thing tonight. AEW, All Elite Wrestling, is tonight. But yeah, so we have the Lavatien that we're building. We're going to finish that. We've done the legs. We've done all the upper body. We got to do the waist. We'll finish the legs, do the waist, and then do the weapons. And then when that's done, we're going to do our first ever paper kit. It's a papercraft kit. It's a very small little box, but we're making a Totoro. Yeah, we got this here. Yeah, Epic Open World. I mean, so all the independent wrestling, a lot of them are on. Some of them are pay-per-view. Some of them are to use Powerbomb TV, which is a paid streaming service. There are a bunch of other ones that exist, but yeah, they're still pay-per-view. But yeah, we're going to do a papercraft kit. I had to go and buy glue because I don't own regular glue anymore, apparently. I have glue sticks for a glue gun, and I had liquid cement, but I didn't have, like, Elmer's glue, which this is a bad, yeah, the orange is bad on the stream, but I didn't have Elmer's glue. Just didn't have it. I had a container that had no glue in it, so that was funny. But yeah, so I went and bought glue yesterday. But that'll take a little while because we're still working on it. We got like the bottoms of our legs here. We got to do the thighs and some of the armor, the outer armor on the different legs, and then put it all together. Shouldn't take too long. Not too many steps left. Hello, Ultron, and welcome. Happy to have you here. Yeah, like I said, I'm not expecting like a huge crowd tonight because of various things that are happening, but that's okay. Mostly, I just look forward to hanging out with y'all and playing some stuff here. Pat Bear's stream sponsored by Elmer's Glue. Yeah, Elmer's Glue. I know what it does, and it was inexpensive. Elmer's Glue. Tastes great. Yeah. But yeah, I know there's a bunch of stuff going on tonight, so I understand. Oh, I also wanted to say, as always, if you're a subscriber and you use your Twitch coin, make sure that you're not your subscription needs to be renewed. Renew that a week from now, or Thursday, so less than a week from now will be the last stream of the month, and a subscriber will win a model kit. So if you want to win that model kit, you got to be a subscriber. So make sure that your subscription is renewed. And I want to give a shout out to someone that started following me while we weren't streaming. Yesterday, we got followed by Hell Dracula. Hell Dracula is a great name. And I hope that person watches the stream in the future, in the near future, because Hell Dracula is a great name. But yeah, we have the Barbatos Lupus Rex Full Mechanics that I'm giving away. That's a great kit, great weapon, Real solid kit. So that's giving away on Thursday to a subscriber, current subscriber. Anyway, let's go to the overhead. Like I said, I am expecting kind of a light crowd tonight, and that is understandable for what we're doing. But here is our overhead shot, and we will zoom in when we start doing Hail Dracula or Hell Dracula. Double H double A E double L. Hail Dracula. Yeah, one word. Yeah, not hail, hell. The Dracula from hell. Anyway, as you can see, we've got our energy ponytail, which I love about this kit. It's so silly. You can see the overhead shot, and then we will zoom in the overhead shot when I'm doing the papercraft to make things a little easier. And then we got our legs. We're going to build off one of these legs. We're going to start with the right leg and build off of it. So we can put these aside for now. And then I got my tools for paper crafting and all that. Yeah, it's second form. Can't beat a second form. G. So we'll take a G out. As I've said with this kit, if you haven't watched the stream in a bit, there's nothing particularly surprising about this kit. It is pretty straightforward. It is equivalent to, it's a high grade, and it's equivalent to like the 144 scale high grade. There's some detail that is kind of pleasant, but there's nothing so far anyway particularly like unique about this kit. I will say that I like that. So this right here, there is a sticker, but this piece is plastic, and I appreciate that. There are some stickers in this kit, and there'll be a few more stickers we have to put on later. But anytime it isn't a sticker and it's just a different colored piece of plastic, I appreciate that. All right, and then 8. This one here. Yeah, I hope everyone's having a good Saturday. Part of my Saturday was putting together my chair, which I am sitting in right now. Oh, thank the high heavens. Originally, it said delivery would be Wednesday, and which meant that I would have to, because I bought it on Thursday, I believe, because my chair had been giving me some issues and then finally just completely crapped out. And I was like, oh, that sucks. It looked very comfy. Yeah, it is very comfortable. Armrests are in a good position. They're not adjustable, but they're where I want them. This is basically, I bought the same chair that I had. It's slightly different. The main difference of this chair versus the one I had before is the legs there's 5 legs instead of 4, and they're actually a little smaller. They're in length, so that is a little different. But overall, it's a chair that I really liked, so I just bought another one of it. And yeah, it said that it was going to be delivered Wednesday, which meant that I had 2 more streams of sitting in that. If you've been following the saga on my YouTube, then you also probably saw the photos of the chair I had been using, because I didn't want to. My old chair, which now is broken, I've now broken down, and it's ready for sending it out to trash. I didn't want to break it fully, so I was only going to use it for streams, and I had 2 more streams tonight and Monday before my next one was coming in, the new chair. So I was like trying to make sure I didn't use it too often. So I was using a Tommy Bahama beach chair, which was very low to the ground and very nice for the beach. It folds up and has a little pocket on the back for clothes or whatever. It's got a cup holder. It's a very nice beach chair. It's not meant for what I was doing, which was living my fucking life. It wasn't a great chair for living my goddamn life. And so that was a bummer, and I'm glad that at the end of this stream, like since I put it together, I could just do it. So basically what happened with my old chair was you can lean back in it. You can set the resistance for leaning back, right? Well, it started to be a thing where it would just kind of lean back when I put any pressure on it or didn't do anything, and it would lean back way too fucking much. And then eventually it didn't come back in the right way. It came back like weird and lopsided. And my stream on Friday hurt my butt. It hurt to sit on that chair. And if I leaned back on it, I would just topple over, which I did once, and once is enough of toppling over. So the nice thing is that chair is now broken into a bunch of component parts and set aside for trash pickup. And that makes me happy. Did I want to spend the money on a new chair? No, I did not. I really fucking sincerely, please understand when I say I did not want to fucking spend that money on a new chair. But these are the price that I pay for having a chair that I can use as my computer chair and also as my build chair. But it's very comfortable. It's a comfortable chair. I like it. Like I said, I got a version that's pretty much the same as the one that. And I apologize. I don't remember the chair that that finally broke and that I replaced was bought off my Amazon wish list moons ago, and I can't remember who bought it. But thank you to the person that did that. That chair was very good, and I will attempt to baby this chair for many, many months in the future. Thanks to everybody who's hanging out tonight here on the Build with Baer Workshop. As mentioned, we are working on this kit, finishing our leg parts here, and then we will start a brand new project, which is papercraft. I have done the research as best I can to understand what entails and what is needed of me. And much like working on the what was I going to say? Much like working on the car model kit, the A86, I'm totally fine with fucking this one up and failing, or fucking up a piece and having to figure things out. Like, it's a learning process, and I also hope that like folks that don't know anything about it or even know less than I do can learn something from me trying to figure this stuff out. That's always the hope. Is a very pleasant chat, which we always have, and a chat full of nice people, good conversation, and then hopefully folks can learn something about model kit building while I learn about it, and in this case, papercraft learning as well. That is the hope. That's always my hope. But yeah, and then also like, I know that sometimes there are folks that are like, I don't know anything about this thing, but I'm checking out this show because you talked about it, and that always makes me happy. Or working on stuff that you're like, oh, I don't know anything about that show. After work, okay, Ultron says, after work I ate a big chili at Wendy's, and then I petted a bunch of cats that hang around near my apartment. I then took a 2-hour nap, and now I'm here with y'all. Well, Ultron, first of all, hello and welcome. And secondly, hashtag good day is true. Got to pet a bunch of cats, nice feral cats, that sounds good. Or indoor, outdoor cats that all hang out together. Either way, that's fun. Naps are great. Highly recommend it. Didn't take one today, but certainly didn't really need it myself. But yeah, that sounds pretty great. My treat today was that I had lunch at McDonald's. There is a McDonald's too close to my apartment that I usually am very good about being like, I don't need to go there. Why would I go there? But I hit that thing where you're like, well, I don't really have everything I want to eat for like breakfast or brunch, because most of the time I'm eating like at 11. I don't really have everything I want for a meal. So instead of going to a grocery store, buying a bunch of groceries, coming back, and then making my lunch, what I could do instead is have lunch at McDonald's and then go grocery shopping and then come back here and then just put groceries away, and I've already eaten. So I did that. And that was, I'm not going to say it was a good decision, but it was my decision to make. And tasted just fine, and I was happy to do it. All right. Hell yeah for Too Close Mickey D's. Yeah, Ultron. It was a good time. I'm happy I went. And then I had a sensible dinner, a big old salad with a bunch of good fresh ingredients that I bought at the grocery store. So there you go. Streetlight says, sounds like what I just did before dinner, food shopping, then Mickey D's. Indeed. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's the thing where I was like, when I do my grocery shopping, like in the afternoon, there's always that thought where it's like, am I going to eat now or later? And I just ate before. All right, so with that. I think it's good to eat before grocery shopping so you don't buy stuff you don't really need. Yes, food shopping while hungry is often leads to just things that you did not need. Yes, very true. Not a fan of McDonald's. I think it's because my parents hated it and never took me there when I was a kid. Yeah, Epic World. I mean, a lot of my McDonald's things are certainly, I would say, tied into going there as a child. I honestly associate McDonald's as the place I went after vision therapy. So when I was younger, my mom would take me once a week to this place where I had vision therapy, where I would go and do basically like tasks on computers and visual aids and a bunch of stuff to work on my eyesight, because I, for the longest time as a child, had very, very poor eyesight and was unaware of that fact. I didn't realize that my eyesight was bad. I didn't have the tools necessary to be like, hey, I think I have a vision problem. So I just assumed that's what everyone else was going through, which is a bad assumption. So I would go to a place and I would work on my eyesight, like physical therapy for your eyes, and it was awesome and helpful, and then sometimes like gave me a headache and all that. But as a reward, the day that I would go to vision therapy afterward, because my mom wasn't, the way the time worked, my mom wasn't going to cook when she got home, so we would go to McDonald's, which was right across the street from vision therapy. So that's where those are my McDonald's memories. Not like going there just randomly. It was, oh, this is a reward for like doing good at vision therapy. Now I get to have some Mickey D's because I'm working hard on getting my vision where it needs to be. We need D110. It's this one here. And yeah, worked out pretty good. I didn't learn to love Taco Bell until college. My mom and dad weren't there to poo-poo the idea of eating there. Yeah, I never went to Taco Bell. There weren't a lot of Taco Bells in Connecticut at the time. And yeah, I just didn't have any around me in my neighborhoods. So I never really went to a lot of Taco Bell. I still haven't gone to many Taco Bells. Of the fast food places, it might be the place I've been to the least. It was just never a thing. And then it's also like, there are a lot of like Pizza Hut Taco Bells or KFC Taco Bells, or like a lot of those combinations. And usually Taco Bell is not the thing in the combination I want. So I don't really go. I should, one last thing about that. It was in Guilford, Connecticut that I would go to that McDonald's. That Guilford McDonald's was a test kitchen McDonald's only for one thing. The McPizza. The fabled McPizza. I ordered it. You would get it, and you would have to wait. It was the only fast food item I'd ever ordered where they gave you a number. It was a special thing. They gave you a number, and then they would bring it to your table, which at the time no other fast food place was doing for anything, and only McDonald's was only doing it for that because it took longer than other food to do. And now I can't tell you that it was good. Yes, so the McPizza was not in some countries. In some countries, the McPizza was on menu for years. I believe Canada did it for a really long time. But as an American, they tested it in some McDonald's, and they discontinued it eventually, and it never really caught on. I can't tell you it was good. But I also can't tell you it was bad because I was a child and I had no palate for pizza. The only thing about pizza I can tell you as a child was if we got it, that's great. Um, there was really crummy pizza you could buy at school, but it was cheap, so that was okay. And I knew it was bad, but also it was okay because it was cheap. And I think personal pan pizzas at Pizza Hut, at the time I thought they were very greasy. And I didn't love all the grease at the bottom of it because it was the pan, somewhat Chicago style, but not really personal pan pizza. I remember thinking that that was too greasy on the bottom. Um, but that's all I can tell you about. Oh, that's a leg done. We finished the leg. That's all I can really tell you about the McPizza, other than I, yeah, I very much I have fond memories of that. Canada had it on the menu because everyone has health issues and everyone can see the doctor afterwards. But yeah, I remember it being popular in some parts. I mean, the thing is that interesting is that there are regional things. So if you go to Cape Cod, Massachusetts, which is it is a resort town in a way. Cape Cod, there are people that live there year round, but a lot of people that just go to it. They have in Cape Cod a lobster roll that you can get at McDonald's. And I don't know if there's anywhere else in the country where you can get a lobster roll at McDonald's except in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. I've had it. It was not good. I got it mostly because that's a nonsense thing to buy at McDonald's. And then you look at like other countries and certain foods they have there, and you're like, I would love, yeah, the McLobster. I would love to get a double quarter pounder with a fried egg on top. You can get that in some parts of the world. Can't get that in New York, USA, as far as I know. That could be that they've changed that. As far as I know, that's a thing there. But there are a lot of different regional foods. It seems like not too many, but just enough at McDonald's. All right, so this is gonna go. Right. It goes like that. And that goes like that. I just did this. I don't know why I'm like, wait, how does this work? I literally just did it. Yeah, there we go. Ordering a lobster roll from McDonald's in Cape Cod makes sense. Anywhere else doesn't. Indeed, it's totally true. Maybe on Martha's Vineyard. Martha's Vineyard, like maybe you could get that there. But also don't know if there's a McDonald's on Martha's Vineyard. I do know that the ice cream place at Martha's Vineyard sells a lobster ice cream. Because of course it does. But that's only because, like, my aunt by blood, my mother's brother's wife's family ran an ice cream place on Martha's Vineyard and sold a lobster ice cream. I've never had it, but I know it exists. But yeah, I know that's a thing that is out there. Because of course. All right, and that, and then that. Yeah. But yeah, they're a place that like I forget the name of it, but it's like it's two brothers own it, and their sister is married to my uncle by blood. So they have yeah, my one of my cousins used to work there, so I heard all about the lobster ice cream, which is nonsense. Yeah, I don't know. All I know is the last time the McRib came back, none of the McDonald's anywhere near me had it. It only came back in like some cities, and New York was one of them, but none of the McDonald's that were anywhere near me got it, which is rude because I still like a McRib. It's awful, but it's good awful. I like that. I like a good awful, you know? I'm not asking for much. I just like good nonsense food. I mean, do folks remember the incredible when the dollar menu started, the McRib Jr. Oh, the McRib Jr. It was instead of the long sandwich, it was they used the regular hamburger bun, and it was like a circular patty, and it's still the same sauce and pickles, which I don't love, and onions, and it was the same. I mean, it was less, but it was also $1. I ate a lot of McRib Juniors. I'll say that. I also was at the time the dollar menu came out. I was working at a mall, and I was not making any money. I was making minimum wage and working basically part time. So any money I could save, and I worked enough there that I needed to eat lunch because I opened to close some weekdays, so I had to buy my lunch there, and because I wasn't making my own food, and but I was allowed to close the store to go get lunch. So I ate a lot of dollar menu items at that time because it was my best chance to get food. There is a very dangerous frozen yogurt place by me, Epic Open World. That is very dangerous. They charge by weight. You get a bowl, pick a flavor of frozen yogurt, and they have the toppings to choose from. Oh, it's great and way more expensive. Yes. By the pound sounds like you're winning, but you're not winning. You're not winning at all because you're gonna put a bunch of toppings on there, and then you're gonna pay for all those toppings. So you're not coming out ahead. That's how they get you. They're getting you. Um, but that's very like smart of them. They learned. Uh, so that mall job I had was the anime import store I've talked about on stream, Charms Animation and Gifts. That was so I had finished up high school. I had gone to college for a year. Um, and then I came back because I didn't enjoy college and I wanted to go to acting school and move to New York. So there was a summer between when I had a long summer because my school that I was going to that I applied for and got in started in October. Uh, so I had like college ended in May and then I had to October. So I got a job. Um, no, wait, did I take a year off in between? I did. That's right. I took a year off in between them. So because I had to apply for stuff. But yeah, I was going to go to acting school, had to apply. So I took a year off, and I ended up working at this minimum wage job, retail job, at a uh, at a place that that sold. It sold like model kits and wall scrolls and music CDs for anime stuff and Sanrio products, and some of it was very much top of the line, on board, totally legitimate stuff. But we also, because it was 1999, or no, so that year was 2000. Sorry, 2000. It was the summer of 2000. They also sold VHS tapes of fan subs, which is not a legal thing you could just do. It was wrong of them, and it was wrong of me for working there. Uh, I mean, so it was in a mall, Epic Open World, so it wasn't very horny. We did have a few tapes eventually that were 18 plus that we kept separately, but because we were in a mall, our wall scrolls were like Dragon Ball. Like we were selling shit, Gundam, a lot of Gundam, because we were selling stuff to things that were on Toonami, because that was how you made your money, was doing that. Couldn't make your money any other way, believe me. But yeah, um, So we did sell some shirts. We didn't sell a lot of shirts because then you have to have a lot of sizes. So we did sell a few things, but also we were trying not to sell things that were in other stores in the mall because then you would get in trouble. So we didn't sell like silk shirts because Hot Topic sold that, right? But we did do like orders of shirts, like if you wanted to import some stuff. We did a lot of model kits because no one was selling that. Eventually, the EB or GameStop or whatever sold action figures, but it was okay because we'd been selling them for years before that, so we didn't run into a foul of anybody on that. But it was like always a balancing act to make sure the other stores weren't mad at us because they were chains, and we didn't want to run afoul of the corporate. Um, it was overall like, in the end of the day, here was the thing about the job, right? We were mall hours, right? So, Boy Blue. Oh, uh, just want to drop in to say you should watch Double or Nothing once you aren't streaming. The 6-woman tag match was phenomenal. Yeah, I'm gonna take a look at the highlights at least after stream. But yes, hello, Boy Blue. Thanks for dropping in. Thanks for letting us know. Um, so it was mall hours, right? So we would open up and not sell anything for a really long time because nobody was there to buy things. Occasionally, we would sell something to like the mall walkers. If you didn't know this, in a lot of suburban areas, um, there are people who, mostly retirees, that just go to the mall, park there, and then walk around. They socialize, they chat with them, they have friends that do it, and that's how they get their exercises, by walking around. So we would sell stuff to, sometimes I would sell like Sanrio products. I'd sell a big Hello Kitty or something like that, or stationery with Bats Maru on it, somebody that was like walking by. And then occasionally there'd be like a mom or an aunt or a grandma or something, because that's always what it was. It's not me stereotyping. That's the reality of it. Who would like come in and ask me a question about like Card Captor Sakura at the time, or Sailor Moon maybe, or something like that, for their daughter or granddaughter. But most of the time I would just open and then just be open for a really long time, and then kids would get out of school, high school would let out, and then I would sell shit. Then I would sell wall scrolls and VHS tapes and eventually DVDs. You might remember those if you're around my age. They were translated by like Alta Vista or Babelfish or something, and so they were very poorly translated. But you could get like 10 episodes on one DVD, so it was very economical. Um, my favorite was that the people that were doing the translating didn't understand context of the shows. So they would translate Yugi in, so you're watching the fan subs of Yu-Gi-Oh! And then you would just be like, Game, what are you talking about? Where are you going, Game? Dark Game. And you'd be like, oh, Yugi means game. You'd have to like decipher it. I remember watching Initial D again years later because the subs of the third season of it, or series of it, was like very hard to understand because the fan sub was very poor. Because that was about volume. It wasn't about like a dedicated club. This was a fan sub group that was trying to make money, as much money as possible on fan subs. So then we would sell everything, and then we'd be open, and then maybe the last hour, there wouldn't be a lot of people there, but you do pretty good. But that meant that I had hours where no one was going to come in, and I could close for lunch, and it wasn't a problem at all. So I ended up watching a lot of anime. We had a TV VCR combo that was meant for just running stuff so people could look at it. And then it was also meant for, like, when we sold the tape, we'd pop in and test the tape and make sure that it was working. I would just move that TV to my chair behind the counter and then just put in tapes and slowly be paid to watch anime. And then I also eventually figured out that the computer, this was the year 2000, The computer was like locked down and only allowed you to. There was dial-up on it. It was hooked up to the computer system so that the owner could upload the data from it to like his home computer and basically email himself. Well, I figured out. Well, that was fine. Eventually, and I figured this out. He had AOL on the computer because he had an AOL account, and it was easier to just do that and just log into his AOL and send himself an email. So I would tab out of our system, and then like twice a day log on to AOL, check my email, because it was a phone line and I couldn't use it too often. But I could say every now and again, if, my boss or the manager at the other store we had called, I could be like, oh, I was on the phone with a customer. So I couldn't be online too long, but I could always be online enough to like check my email, because this is like way before phones, like smartphones. I had a cell phone that was very dumb. My cell phone did not have a digital mailbox. If my phone was off, you could not call it. You would get a busy signal. If I was like out of service, if I was like in a long tunnel, if I was driving through a tunnel or something, or on the subway when I moved to New York, you would get a busy signal if you called it, because it was the cheapest thing ever. The modem sounds were muted, Epic Open World. At that time I understood how to turn down the sound on an internal modem, because it wasn't external, it was internal on the computer. I learned how to do that. When I figured out how to do that on my home computer so I could be on AOL late at night and not hear my parents wake up. That was pretty great. Oh yeah, I mean I had dial-up for years and years. Part of that year where I was living with my folks, we had a house fire. I've talked about this a little bit, but not super into detail. We had a house fire, and the house was fine. Our garage that was attached, we had an attached garage, that burned down, which is a harrowing experience, a completely like fraught experience that I'll never forget. But we had everyone was okay, including our dog was fine. Everything was fine. But it meant that we couldn't move back. We couldn't live in our apartment. We had to gut all the walls because of smoke damage. So what ended up happening was we moved into my uncle's house because he barely lived there. He had a house. So this is a weird thing. My uncle was and is still, but for a long time he's not doesn't charge. He's a priest, but he was in charge of one of the largest churches in North America, in Connecticut. And so he lived at the rectory, and then like he would take weeks off and go to his house. And he had a house for property tax reasons, but also because he had collected all this stuff, because he was also a military chaplain. So for years he didn't have a house, but he had all this like stuff. So he had a house that he like barely lived in. So we just moved in there instead of living out of a hotel or renting a house, which was incredible because it felt like, for months and months, it felt like a home. So we used his phone for dial-up, and then eventually he was like, hey, should I get like cable internet? They're offering me cable internet. Would that help you, Patrick? And I was like, yes. Please, please, please get cable internet. He's like, yeah, I guess I'll just cancel it when you move out. But if you're going to be there for a year, I think we were there for like a year and 2 months. I had moved to New York before it wrapped up. It was a lot. There was a lot of like weirdness about that whole thing about living in my uncle's house for so long. But I'm always so grateful to him for that. Just having a place to go. And it was technically closer to my job. Free cable internet, that's great. Yeah, in the late 90s, I used Ultron to use my high school computer lab to download a totally not fake Ghostbusters 3 Doom. I mean, when I I've definitely told this recently, so I won't go too into it. But when I moved to New York, my first apartment, I was renting a room in a place, um, just the room, and they didn't have internet at all. They didn't, and there wasn't. They had phones, but there wasn't a phone line in the room, so I couldn't even use dial-up. So and my phone was the phone I talked about already. So I had like no options. So what I would do is I would go to an internet cafe, and I would go to the internet cafe to do email stuff, and then I would get fan sub stuff on disc mailed to me so I could keep up with my anime. Um, and then I eventually got a job at a place that had in their office had a computer that a bunch of people could use, and no one was really paying attention to that computer. So I put BitTorrent on it and started downloading torrents, and then I leave it at the end of the night running and come in next day with a external hard drive, plug in that external hard drive, and transfer the discs onto that, and then take that home with me. That's what I end up doing until eventually someone left a sticky note on the computer going, having BitTorrent on here is fine, except you're like not for what you're using it for. It's like if you want to grab music for this computer, sure, but not for whatever the fuck you're watching. And so I was getting passive aggressively called out, and I stopped. And then I didn't watch Bleach for a really long time, or Naruto, or whatever the fuck. It was probably Naruto, if I have to guess. It was probably that I was grabbing fan subs of Naruto at the time, and I couldn't watch it. I had to wait till I moved to a new apartment where we get internet, and we had cable internet, and it was great. One of my apartments in New York just had dial-up, and we had cable TV, but not cable internet. I ended up watching TV. I didn't want TV, but we had a phone line, and so I just had an AOL account, so I could dial up into AOL and have AIM running and all kinds of dumb shit, but couldn't. My roommates did not want cable internet, so one of them loved sports, so we had to have cable TV. Which always really, really fucking bothered me. Because our cable provider didn't have a package, didn't have a deal for cable internet. So frustrating. Eventually, I moved out of that place into a place that had cable internet, and it was great. 16. All right, working on the waist here. We're getting close to being done with this kit. We all love Napster. I mean, certainly. The thing I love the most is, so my year in college at the University at Albany, very little good happened that year. It was cold. I was doing general studies. There was a theater school. They had theaters there, and but they didn't have a theater program, and I wanted to go to theater, but my folks were like, go to a school for a year, do regular college for a year, and then if you want to go to acting school after that, you can. So I went to a school that didn't have an acting program, but had a really good theater and an incredible scene shop that had Scene Study 101. Because I was like, well, I know I'm going to drop out of regular school because I don't want to go to math class. I want to study acting. So I went to a place that, had facilities that were incredible, that were going to let me use their facilities my freshman year. Because some places don't let you do that freshman year. Like, you can't take any classes towards your major. You got to do all general. So I was able to do a lot of scene study, which I was really happy about, and like play with tools, build sets for some of the shows that were happening at the theater. I auditioned for a play. I had like a chances to do that stuff, and it was great. And then I ended up, let's see. So then what was I don't even remember what I was talking about, but the one thing that my college had, that's what I was talking about with college, was we had T1 internet. And also our computers were networked if you wanted them to be. So what most people did was you taught them how to use they still wanted to use AOL. Even though you didn't use AOL, you could just put Internet Explorer uh, on your desktop and just use the internet. People like were used to using dial-up at school because this was 1999. So they got these brand new computers, and then they did download AOL, and then or on disk, and then I would help my friends do the T1 like way to use it so they could do that, or and then AIM became more popular and people finally just started using AOL Instant Messenger instead of fucking using all of AOL. All right, let's build some weapons here. Got to build some weapons now. Now that we have we're gonna have some knives here, and then some a big gun and a tiny gun. But yeah, we got our main figure done here, so we move on. But yeah, so the computers were networked, if you know what you're doing, and people would just share all the music they stole off of Napster. And that's how I got a lot of my music collection when I first started out and LimeWire and all that. Was just, playing Team Fortress on the network. Some people had like movies on there, like some not necessarily full length, but scenes, like, and you like learned where the computers were. Here's a shady shit that I did as a young man. Not proud of it. Proud of it. My computer filled up of music. My roommate bought a brand new computer that had a much bigger hard drive than me. He bought it at school, which is a scam. And he only used it for typing up papers and AOL Instant Messenger. So what I did was, of course, he didn't have a password on his computer. I networked between our two computers and dragged all of my music onto his computer. Almost all of it. Maybe not all of it, but most of it. And so then I could just use Winamp and play music over the network with his computer. We were in the same bedroom. So we were in the exact same room because we were literal roommates. And so I didn't have to have my music on my computer. It was all on his computer. And he fucking definitely never noticed. Never, ever noticed. The only time it was a bummer is if he like turned his computer off, which he normally didn't do because nobody fucking turned their computers off at that time. It was very smart of me and stupid. But Baldridge says nice. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty nice. It worked out pretty great because it allowed me to free up my computer so that I could play Team Fortress. I needed the room. Certainly didn't need the room for doing anything else, really. I have a friend that worked for school district in the IT department, says Epic Open World. They had a server they were no longer using. They got a sub to Netflix to get DVDs sent to their office. Well, you can guess what that server was filled up with. Hell fucking yeah, that's what I'm talking about. At my summer IT job, one of the best jobs I've ever had, because I think I definitely talked about this before. That job was IT support. They hired too many of us because the number one problem at that place was the copier, but the copier was a rental so that they didn't own, so their service agreement stated they had to call us certain people to come service the copiers, and we weren't allowed to touch the copiers. The copiers were also the printers, so we had very little to do. We mostly just like, I got to put you back on the network. I got to update every couple months. We got to update files or whatever. But for the most part, we did nothing. So we played a lot of Network Doom. We played a whole lot of Network Doom, and it was so fucking fun. All right, now we're building a gun here. We got our combat knives here. Done, and now we which are our weird sword knives. Now we can build some weapons. Basically, this is like sometimes this is a cannon, and sometimes this is a assault rifle. Our big old guns here. Put them all together. There's some different modes to this. But yeah, I mean, like taking advantage of IT is definitely the way to go if you can get away with it. Uh, Now I have better internet than the place I work part time at. Uh, the Wi-Fi at the theater that I work part time at is so much worse than the internet here because of having FiOS. Yeah, now I'm like, hey, if you're gonna send me something, send it before I leave my apartment to go in, so that I can actually download it at a reasonable time. If you're sending a giant video file or some nonsense, people always want to send things late. People want to send things last minute, and then they want to be mad at you when it doesn't work, and you're like, well, whose fault is that? Epic of Moral says he's now boss of the ID department at another school district, so he can no longer do stuff like that. Oh yeah, no. When you're the boss, you don't get to. That's abuse of power at that point. That's not. That's not sticking. When you're the man, you can't stick it to the man anymore. It's a shame. But yeah, once you become the man, it is it's hard to stick it to him. All right. A lot of options for this weapon, but we're going to build the biggest possible version of it because that's better. Basically, we could have the gun just be this if we wanted to, but we could also make it a rifle. So we will indeed make it a rifle. H11, H10, H4, H7. Great. So 11, 10. Hey, Pat, I need you to play track 3 on this burned, unlabeled disc. Don't worry about what's on it. They'll be fine. Yeah. Take advantage of any job. I'll grab a bar of soap or something. I'd rather raise, but I'll take the soap for now. Yeah. I mean, that is part of it, especially because, everyone is working all you can and they're taking advantage of where they can take advantage, and you that is part of the deal, right? So uh yeah, I've definitely like my former job. Maybe I ordered uh oh, you know what? I need bosses taking advantage of employees. Of course, my former job, perhaps when ordering supplies, ordered 4 new lightning cables, and then took an old lightning cable for other purposes because, well, we got 4 new ones. We don't need 3 old ones anymore. This one's not doesn't need to be like thrown away, but we don't need it here on the job. Maybe it'll just go somewhere else. Maybe. How you like this kit? Asked Twisted was here. First of all, hi Twisted. Nice to have you here in the chat. Welcome, welcome. I'm liking it. So this is, I said this at the top of the stream. This is the equivalent, I believe, of like a 144 scale kit. It is, it's a fine thing. I think it's coming together nice and easy, which I always appreciate when dealing with kits that I've never dealt with before. So I do appreciate that. But yeah, maybe some of the instructions could be a little clearer. There are a few times where I'm like, oh, I don't know exactly what you're asking of me here, model kit. But for the most part, this is a pretty fun build. And it's fun to work on a mech suit that I've, not really familiar with. But yeah, I think that was probably the best example of when I would just be like, I guess I'm gonna borrow this piece of equipment for a little while. We'll see what happens with it. Or yeah, you get a little extra supplies now and again because you know you can do that. You got it now and again because yeah, your employers are taking every liberty they can with you and your well-being and how much you can make and all that. Like they're definitely taking advantage. So if you can, I would recommend it. All right, so that's what I need to do. Trying to make sure I'm putting this piece on right. All right. We'll take our break here. I'm waiting to build my MGXS till I get new tools. Ah, I hear ya. Yeah, my snipper clips have been holding up. Like, I'm probably, at the end of the year, my Christmas present to myself will probably be a new pair of snippers. Because it would be nice to have these as like a backup. I don't have a pair of backup snippers right now. I had a pair, and then I lent them to someone who then fucking broke them. And they are not the kind of person that I would ever expect to even think about replacing them because I lent them to them. And they're sorry it happened. They don't understand how it happened, which is, fun. But yeah, sooner or later I will buy a pair of snipper clips that will be my new primary ones, and then these can go to become backups. We'll take our break in a few moments, do a little pause for the cause. We got some anime to talk about. I want to finish up these weapons. We got our papercraft to get going on, But it is fun to talk about the old days of technology stuff, like for me anyway, especially when it is relation to anime, and just I'm sorry I broke them. I can venue cast to you next week. See, I would love that Epic Open World if the person that damaged I lent to them snipper clips would be like, ah, shit, I can't believe this happened. It's so weird. Instead, they were just like, oh, hey, you know those things you lent me? I broke them. Sorry about that. And you're like, that's where we're at? Oh. Well, and it's one of those things where you're like, yeah, it is my fault that I lent an unreliable person something. They're like, oh, I was doing a project, and apparently those aren't great for the thickness of wire I was using. And I'm like, they're snippers. You can cut wire with them. I don't know what they were using them for that would cause them to break. It must have been very thick wire or chain. Or were they trying to use them to break a bike lock? Like, I don't know what the fuck was going on, but whatever it was, that broke my shit. That sucks. Alright. Let's put on our long cannon piece here. Yeah, that happens, which is fucking frustrating. But yeah, then you learn, like, okay, that person should have been using tin snips instead. Yes. Damn straight. Plus, I need new nippers before I get the perfect grade unicorn. Yeah. Yeah, you definitely want to have stuff you feel really confident in and control-wise if you're working on something big. Your friend is a bike criminal. Like, yeah. I know. Like, that's the thing. That's like one of the only assumptions I could make was be like, what the fuck are you even doing? Are you like stealing shit? Like what? Why are you? How could you break my shit like that? I don't know. I don't know the answer. Just asking the questions. And then also like, yeah, it's like, okay, next time that person asked me for something, I just said no. I didn't think of a good excuse. Like, he asked me to borrow a piece of costuming, and I was just like, no, nah, I'm not gonna do that. And I'm glad that that person didn't. I'd have to follow up. I do in general sometimes have rules about lending things, and if I'm going to or not. because of stuff like that. Like costume pieces, I don't lend out anymore because of that very reason. People take advantage, and then suddenly, like, it's like prop. First of all, like transporting a prop gun in New York, one that is good looking, is a risk that you're taking if you're riding the subway. Certainly. And I don't want to put that risk on people, but also like the prop gun that I am in possession of, which I have no real reason to have now because I don't do a lot of sketch comedy anymore. When I was doing more sketch comedy, it made sense. It was expensive, so like, fuck you. You're not getting that shit. Nobody's getting that. Oops. Yeah, that costs a lot of money. I'm not just like lending people that anymore. Wait. I think I assembled this piece wrong, so now I'm trying to... Nope, that's right. Okay. Oh, hi. Hello. Welcome, welcome. Tanya, it's happy to have you here in the chat. Welcome. Working on our Lavatien from Full Metal Panic. I almost said Alchemist. Full Metal Panic. It's going good. I've been streaming for about an hour. It's a little warm here in my apartment because I try to keep the fan on low for streaming, so that's making it kind of toasty in here. But otherwise, I'm doing okay. Kit building here. All right. Yeah, and then we've got our weapons just about done. We can put these go in the knees? Is that what happens here? Oh, okay, I can see that. Yeah. But yeah. Never watched. Yeah, I don't know Full Metal Panic super well. I watched the first season of it a long time ago. And then I never really followed up with it. I have some friends that really like it. I know the last season, things got quote-unquote real on it. And I don't know. I think it's one of those things where, like, serious anime, like, that has lots of jokes in it, the jokes kind of fade as the series continues to get more and more dramatic. And then suddenly it's not dramatic. There's no comedy anymore. Like the switch from Naruto to Naruto Shippuden, where it's like, there was some serious stuff and people dying and some sadness, and Naruto had some rough times, but also that series was just like goofy and silly, and then by the time they got to Shippuden, it's like, nah, that ain't there ain't jokes anymore. There's a great ninja war is happening. So maybe there'll be a little comedy here and there, but not really. The second raid was pretty cool. Yeah, like I said, I watched the first series. I haven't watched Panic, which is what this one is from, which is the most recent one. But I have some friends that really dig the show. And I just like working on kits that are different. Like, it's fun to work on properties we haven't done before. It's been really nice to build something that I just like. I have no, like, I've seen a little bit of, but, P goes kind of serious, not serious at all, then insanely serious. Yep. Yeah, it's one of those. I remember years ago seeing a clip online of the main guy like fighting in a dojo and just cheating to win and using weapons and just not understanding the concept of like a one-on-one fight that you were just like, no, you take advantage. So I always thought that like, oh, this is a pretty fun show. And I watched a bunch of it, but never really stuck to it. Okay, so this wants me to be like this. Like this. So these knives can fold up and live in the kneecaps, which is funny. Full Metal Panic sounds like a great band name. Epic Open World, I could totally see that. Yeah, that is a pretty solid band name. All right. So we got these things. I don't know where these go. We built them. Guess these live in the shoulders. Oh, we can put them. We could put these in the shoulders if we want. It's pretty neat. So we can have shoulder weapons if we want. I didn't push these in all the way because we're gonna put the driver canceller on here. Consular on here. So we aren't gonna put that. We're gonna put that on. And then I think we can put those on top of that. So we'll put those aside there. But yeah, the weapons here, this blade comes off, and then it folds up, and you can put them in the kneecap area here, which is pretty fun. All right, I'm going to take a quick little pause for the cause, and we'll come up and do the driver parts here. It's always important to take a moment to say thank you very much for watching. If you are currently a subscriber, you can throw the Bear Cave emote in there, let the people know however you want to do it. Throw the Bear Cave emote there, throw the Lego emote, however you want to do it. I'm going to throw the scythe in there as well. Thank you very much for being a subscriber. Reminder to always renew if you have a Twitch Prime coin. If that's how you subscribe to the channel, make sure that you renew when that comes up because it's hugely beneficial to me. It's great when the numbers go up. If you're following, thank you so much for doing that. Maybe consider becoming a subscriber. That would be great. You can use your Twitch Prime coin or Cash Money if you want to do that. Thank you, Ultron, throwing the Bear Cave emote in there. I have a Patreon. Join my Patreon. $1 a month, you get announcements of my schedule. You get a Q&A video that I only make for Patreon supporters. At $5 a month, you get videos early. Which a reminder, tomorrow I got to put out a video that goes up live for everyone on Monday. Patreon gets that tomorrow. $10 you get to vote on kits I build. I put up polls like at least once a month for that. I also have an Amazon wish list. I updated this wish list pretty recently with some stuff that I would like to build. Very generous. People were very generous. I have some Dragon Ball kits now, which was just bought off my wish list. I now have 3 Dragon Ball Z kits that I'm going to build in a row because that sounds fun for me. But yeah, I got a few kits that I put up there on the wish list. The RX 77-2 gun cannon. It's a big red friend with big guns. I put a World War Tunes Sherman on there, the Meng World, which is just a fun little looking kit. That's another glue kit. I put that up there. Why not? I had fun with the first glue kit I did. I could try another one. So yeah, there's a bunch of options for that. And anything people build in there jumps ahead of order of what I build. And then I have a coffee, in case you're interested in that. It is all in the show description on the YouTube archive as well. Bits and coins always appreciated here. And anything I make on coffee, Amazon, Patreon, Twitch, all that goes into buying kits and equipment. Because unlike, game streamers, I can't just buy a game and then play it for 5 months, right? Gotta constantly be buying new kits. So any help is always appreciated. Tell a friend if they like model kit building, if they like anime talk, if they like a positive chat that isn't super crowded. If they would, if they're okay with swears and are excited about a stream where the streamer isn't gonna say things that are just fucking incredibly awful and terrible, and they're excited about that. Yeah, tell somebody. Join my Discord. It's chill, especially if you're a builder. If you're a builder, it's really good. If you're not, it's also fun to be in the Discord. I think that's it. We can talk about some anime stuff while I work on the driver, which is just big wing things. We're just putting some big wing things and some stickers on our shit. That's all it is. Thanks for hanging out there and the pause for the cause, as always. Just trying to get the word out, let people know. I thought you were signing off. Yeah, no. So One thing I always do is about halfway through the stream, because I do it for 2 hours, I usually take a break because it also forces me to drink water, which I don't do enough of when I'm building. No, I usually do my mid stream break and then I'll do the big like thanks for watching, subscribe, and tell your friends at the end. But yeah, I usually like break it up. It's good for me because then also anime talk often, and we did some anime talk here talking about Full Metal Panic, but my Pat Baer reviews usually happen in the second half um, because chat is often, been cool and we've had some stuff to discuss, and then I can talk about some anime in the second half, which we're gonna do right now. Uh, let's see. So between Thursday stream and Saturday stream, there are 4 shows we can talk about. The teacher on We Never Learn is still very annoying because she's just so tsundere, and that show already has a bunch of tsundere characters. It does not need a teacher to also be tsundere to the main guy. It is annoying. And this is an update of language when I say that. I mean that, like, she's, in her case, instead of being a girl that likes a guy or a guy that likes a girl and is playing hard to get or acting mean to cover their feelings because they're scared of exposing their feelings. In this case, this is just a teacher that like wants to be a hard, tough teacher and is projecting the appearance of being tough and stern, but is really a nice person, just like a real nice lady. So that's her being like lashing out, but she's not lashing out. She's nice. Um, and I don't know. We Never Learn is still fun. It's still a romantic comedy show, and like the goofs and the misunderstandings are still fine. Uh, I do think it's funny that it's like they've shifted a little bit because you assume that okay, they're 2 girls, they're different kind of girls. They're both being helped by this guy, the fellow student, being a tutor. They fall in love with him, sure. But they kind of turned it on its head a little bit because one of the girls isn't really into him. She kind of is, but not really. And a third girl gets introduced who is into him. So, like, one of the character that's not really into him knows about the love triangle and understands what's going on, but isn't, like, as abrupt about it. I don't know. And I don't know. I think it's interesting. Okay. Oops. So I did a step here I didn't need to do, or I did too fast while I was talking there. So I gotta pull these apart because there were stickers that I did not put on yet. I need to put on first. That's fine. That's easy to do. We can do that now. So that's We Never Learn. Let's see. Any other anime stuff I want to talk about here? Oh, Joshi Kausei. So for those that don't remember that show that I talk about this one, it is the 3.5 minute kind of jokey gag one. The premise is that it's silent. There is no dialogue in it. It's all through gestures, and it's a very fun show, and I like it. But it sometimes has this like most of the gags are these 3 girls in school like getting into mischief and having fun together and having a good time, and it's fun and I enjoy it. But occasionally it does this weird thing of getting laughs off like miscommunications that also involve like this guy. There's like a reoccurring male character that shows up that I don't want to deal with anymore. That part is annoying. There's a new Gundam Wing thing coming out. Yes, I believe I saw this. Yes, it's a G Unit manga. Yes, I saw that. It's The Last Outpost. Yes, it's a re-release. Yeah, right. Oh, it's a new one. That's right. It's a new one. Yes. Dual Story G Unit. I like the name. Yeah, that is exciting. I'm not as familiar with the manga as I am with the anime, but there's some good shit in there. Uh, so the main story of it is always there's this guy, or the side story is this guy who like keeps running into these high school girls, uh, and that's not as fun as the other stories. So, um, Fruits Basket, the drama is really hitting pretty hard in Fruits Basket right now. I'm enjoying it. Uh, if I remember as it goes on, the comedy kind of takes a backseat to the drama, and then eventually um, the comedy comes back. So right now we're in drama, but Fruits Basket is still very good. I still think the art is a really nice refresh from the original uh, anime, so it's nice to see it. And overall, I'm still really excited about it. Then Senryu Girl. So my biggest complaint with Senryu Girl. Senryu Girl is the anime about the girl that writes in haikus um, that doesn't communicate through vocally. And this episode was the girls go swimsuit shopping, and and hijinks ensue. So I've talked about this before. Like, I'm very much interested in the life of this high school girl who is nervous and can't really vocalize her opinions, but is fine with writing them in the form of haiku and sharing them. I always think that's very interesting, and you hear her voice as she's holding up the signs that she's writing on, and I think that's like cute and interesting. I enjoy. I still very much enjoy the show. Um, but what was I gonna say? Oh, the thing that I'm like often less enthused about is when it just becomes very like typical, because I don't think that's that typical. So the love story element is fine. The guy who is tough looking but is actually really nice but doesn't have a lot of friends is fine, and he's dumb and doesn't understand that this girl is flirting with him. That's fine. But like the nervousness around the swimsuit stuff wasn't great. I did like it because all of the minor characters that we've been introduced were together, and I think that might have been the first time. So the girl that can read fortunes is there, and the uh, uh, literary club president is there, and then my favorite minor character in the show, the supporting character in the show, the girl that much like the main character, doesn't communicate verbally. She communicates by drawing, and I think she's just awesome, and I really like it. And I also like that she's very positive. So for her response to a lot of stuff is okay, which I think is just like cute and fun. That the way that she's just so supportive of her friends that even if it's like not a thing that she is really into, she's still like, yeah, good job, let's do it. Um, but yeah, it was a cute episode. Also, there's a very fun, silly element of that show. So the main girl's name is Nanako. Nanako. Her name is Nanako. The main dumb dude, his sister is young. She's a child, so she calls Nanako Nananko, and it's just sweet. And every time it happens, it makes me smile because it's just a very sweet, like silly little cute thing. She just always refers to her as Nananko. Just adorable. All right, and then we're putting this piece on here. Anyway, those are the anime shows that I watched that came out between the Thursday and today. I am slowly catching up on One Piece. My plan is to be able to talk about all the episodes that I've missed of One Piece because we're now getting into it. I saw a clip that made me want to catch up on One Piece from where I was in the show. All right, we'll build two of those. Now we can do more stickers. That was just like a bunch of characters that all like Luffy talking about it and joking with each other about how much they like Luffy. And I was like, all right, I want to catch up. And then maybe I'll even catch up, maybe maybe y'all, I'll even catch up on Fairy Tail because it was getting kind of good, and one of my favorite minor characters in that show showed up, and so I was like, oh, cool. Uh, so now I will like Gildarts showed up, and then he wasn't in the next episode. So then I was like, okay, I'm gonna let it a bunch of episodes happen again. I'll go back to it. Also, because like the dude that the anime follows the manga very well of One Piece, or not One Piece. Sorry, of Fairy Tail. Um, and the thing they're very good at is cliffhangers. If there's a big fight happening and it's a multi-episode, either somebody shows up or a big move doesn't go the way it was planned to go, or like the heroes are in trouble or someone is probably dead or maybe dead. Like that happens all the fucking time in Fairy Tail, and it's very effective. So that's why I don't like watching it week to week, because I want to know what the fuck happens. And I watch too many shows week to week. So that's why I like getting a backlog together for some shows. Because, like, yeah, particularly that. Like, it's just, I want to know. I talked about this on Thursday. If you're looking for a series to dive into, man, this week's episode of Black Clover was so fucking good. That show, like, continues to impress. Just the art style of it. Even if you just want to go to YouTube and look at Crunchyroll's YouTube account and see like a clip of the fight that happened this week. It was a guy who controls the winds and has a wind spirit helping him out. And the first time he used some abilities that he's never used before, or that he's ever shown before in the show. So they had this guy do just nonsense, wonderful nonsense, just be incredible. Versus this guy who has creation magic. He has like a wand. He basically, instead of a magic wand, he has a painter's wand, like a brush. Like a big brush that he uses to create anything. And it's incredibly overpowered. It's as overpowered as it sounds. It's a nonsense ability. But he's also young and weird. And he's like Shadow Mario. Yes, Sin, very similar to Shadow Mario. But he's really young and so powerful that people have always been scared of him. But Asta, our main character in the show, made friends with him because he's just like, hey, you're my age and really powerful. That's awesome. You know this cool magic, which is kind of Asta's deal. His deal is that if you're a good person, it doesn't matter if you're scary magic. If you're really good at what you do, he appreciates that. He appreciates hard work, and he also appreciates people who are really good at what they do. That's kind of his thing, which I always liked. I know I've talked about it before on the stream that he yells all the time and is so positive, and it's very annoying that he's a yelling character. But also, I love that optimism. Character has so much optimism, which I really, really like. All right, so then we put that on. Get rid of that. You think there's a Dynasty Warrior guy that does that, creation magic? Yeah, it's often complete nonsense, but I really like it. I think he's got cool abilities. He also has a butler that is really trying to be very supportive of him. I like that. I like support characters. I was thinking about Wise Man's Guru. I'm gonna put the link in the chat for and you can after the stream. You don't have to watch it now. After the stream, just watch, and it's the 4 panels so they can get away with it on YouTube. Watch this opening of this anime, Wise Man's Guru. This is a series about a magic school the main character is way overpowered because it's Isekai. He's from another world, doesn't have memories, a lot of memories of the other world, knows he's in another world. They're going to fight demonoids, which is what happens when you become an evil human and you get so evil that you give up your humanity for power and become basically a demon. They're about to have a war against a whole army of demons. But if you watch this opening, it just fucking seems like a comedy. It just feels like a school comedy about magicians. It's so off place, and even like the girl that just like shrugs at one point, I'm like, they're like, oops, did I do, like literally, did I do that is like a thing that in the song. The tone is so off for what the show is. It's ridiculous. Tanya asks, are you planning on PAX West? It's about that time for panel specifics. I am. I'm still in the planning sessions. At the very least, I'm going to set up. So I'm going to submit for League of Heels, and I'm going to submit for improvised postmortem. Now, the thing is, and you know, folks know, I currently don't have a full-time job. So I'm planning for League of Heels to have a panel. If I have to run that panel and organize that panel from New York and not do it, I will. Maybe we won't have a table, but we will still have a panel, even if I have to book it and run it and then watch it. I don't want to do that, but I will do that if that is what we have to do. I prefer to be there live, but I just can't like buy a plane ticket right now or get a hotel room or an Airbnb right now until I get full-time employment and I can get rid of my current financial worries. So I am still planning on going. I'll do improvised postmortem. Like if I have to cancel improvised postmortem because I can't go, I believe that people will understand. So the hope is that everything will work out. But right now I'm like still figuring out what it's going to be, what the panel is going to be, all of that. If we're going to have table space, I was kind of like waiting to start really thinking about stuff because, like I said, I'm still just figuring out my life right now. But then I had lunch with Yug from Reed. Yug got his start like at PAX Australia as far as his involvement in PAX, but is now like in New York, and we had like drinks and hung out, started talking about PAX stuff, and then I was like, all right, I guess I'm getting hyped about PAX and have to start thinking about PAX. Fine, Yug. Because I was like trying not to think about it because I have other things I need to focus on, but he was getting excited about it, so I don't know. West I can't do grand plans for, but I've always wanted to do more than what I do at PAX. I mean, the big things. This is a reminder. This reminds me, if Reed buys E3 and E3 Rumble will be the worst, also impossible, almost impossible. I mean, Sin, there's never been a reason for me to go to E3. In the same way that people are like, oh, are you going to GDC? No, I'm not in the games industry. Now, E3 is turning into more and more every year. E3 is becoming more of a destination for game fans or gamers. Certainly. That's certainly true. But it's still doesn't make any sense. I'm not going this year. Yeah. It still needs to would need to transform into a show that would make sense for me to go to E3. I've never been to E3. I don't have any plans to go to E3. Aaron and I have always talked about doing a League of Heels show outside of the PAX window. And that still exists. The possibility still exists. like doing something live in New York during New York Comic Con. Not at PAX, but at knowing that we could do it, like not at PAX, not at New York Comic Con, but like around New York Comic Con, because we suddenly have a lot of people around that know us, and we could get talent. Like that's always something that we've like thought about, but yeah, I don't know. I still like have grand plans. The table stuff at PAX, like having a League Eagles table, is incredible, but it does limit my abilities to do some things, which is fine. The big thing that it kind of like the abilities that it removes is like I really can't do much beyond like improvised postmortem, which is pretty simple and straightforward for me to do, so I can always do that. And like so it's like I get that, and then what to say? Doing League of Heels and then running a table. Like those are combined things that I can do, and I'm happy to do them. I can't do like comedy night. It's what I want to do. What we ended up doing at with I should say what was I even saying? Oh, one of the cool things we were able to do at PAX West, because Cards Against Humanity rented a theater, was we did improv. And it was after PAX, and it was, in the building, and they did it free, and it was because they had these theaters rented and had brought all this talent out, and it was really fun. And now I get to do, like, Improvised Postmortem is a straight-up comedy show. I get to do that, and I love doing that. But I now have the ability, if I wanted to, I know the talent, I could do something that would be longer. Maybe it wouldn't be in the main stage, but, like, I like that game night happens over the course of, like, several hours, and people come and go, and they don't clear the room, and it's this long night. It's a destination, right? I'm not as interested in the board or tabletop, like, classic games element of it, the game show element of it, but the concept of a night of programming, appeals to me. So I've always been interested in figuring out a way to do something like that, right? Like getting loading ready run people involved, getting funny game developers I know involved, and like really making a whole show of it, a night of it. What we had originally intended to do with the Cards Against Humanity and Giant Bomb mega panel, which ended up just being less of each of their own panels together, but on the main stage, and the only time ever a Giant Bomb has not had to turn people away. Maybe a few people got turned away, but very few, if any, got turned away, because we were at Benaroya Hall, which is nonsense. But that was only because it was Giant Bomb and Cards Against Humanity teaming up. Neither of those groups would have done that on their own. So it's like, I can say the original concept of that was not an opening video from Cards Against Humanity, them doing some stuff, Giant Bomb talking and hanging out, announcing a thing, and then in between that, and then some bits or whatever, and in between that, me doing a mini version of 404ing it. That was not the intention with that show. The intention of that show was to get like 3 hours, to have like sketches, to have like to mix and match people together, to have like E3, not the E3, to have Cards Against Humanity people like play a video game and do a live quick look, to have like Giant Bomb folks do a segment of like card pitches, like for cards, which is always the thing they do, is people pitch them card ideas, and have them do a round, and like have them like build a set together during the show. That was always the intention, was like like doing like sketches and bits, and like sprinkling it out and having it host, and mixing and matching talent, and like literally having Dan eat a hat, because that's a thing we're supposed to do at some point. He's supposed to eat a hat at some point, making that part of it. Like, the segment was supposed to be, but we got an hour and a half, and it was like, oh, well, we can't do a variety show in an hour and a half for all this talent. Like, now we'll just split it down the middle. Also, anytime you're planning something like PAX West, like there's just so much going on in the year, it's hard to get people together. So that didn't happen, which was a shame. I always wanted that to happen, to be more than it was. Um, don't intend to choose the kind of hat. Well, Ultron, like we would have figured something out. But that didn't happen. That could have happened. That can happen in the future. I'm not. I've never given up the idea of doing that. I mean, that's kind of why I oh, got hand pieces here off. That's kind of why I started doing improvised postmortem, was because I wanted to do well. Okay, so the real reason I did improvised postmortem, the actual reason why I did that show is, one, I had the idea and it was going to be a show I did here in New York, and two, the fine folks at PAX kept booking me as night entertainment for 404ing It. 404ing It, a show I love, a show I very much love. That show is great. It's not a night show. It's you leave the show floor to get a break and a breather. You learn about a new positive stuff. You find out about a thing you didn't know you love. You find a new thing to be interested in. That's what that show is. Should not be at 9 o'clock at night. It should be at 3 in the afternoon. So I was like, hey, if you want a night show, I'll give you a night show. Here's a comedy show. This is just a short form improv game that we can play for an hour. But now I'm like, what if I had 2 hours? What if I got 3 hours? Maybe it wouldn't be streamed. Maybe I couldn't book that for that long. What if I did had stand-ups, had improv, short-form improv, had long-form improv that was premise-based, had sketches, showed videos, got my friends who do comedy stuff who go to PAX and don't perform there a chance to shine, had some people that do sketch comedy that are already at PAX a chance to do some stuff. Why am I not doing that? Well, there's a lot of reasons why I'm not doing that, but one of them is that, I haven't started doing that. So, these are things I've been thinking about. Also, what I'm thinking about is it's time to do some of this papercraft. As I said, I think I said this before, my tools are glue, and then I'm using toothpicks to spread that glue. I'm just using super glue. I have an X-Acto knife. I have tweezers. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm also going to, I have a place that I'm going to be building on, because you probably can't see it too well, but you can see, you can see here, see all these little lines? These are all cuts from when I built my wrestling belt, because I didn't put anything down to cut on, and my X-Acto knife went to my table, and I need to stop doing that. But also, it'll give a place for your eye to focus while I'm doing this work. So we're going to do that, and then I'm also going to zoom in on my webcam. So let me zoom in. That. Yeah. Okay. Also, that way you can kind of see what I'm working on. I zoomed in some here. Great. My hands are now very big. I am going to fail at some of this. I'm going to figure out some of it as I go. You get a wrestling belt out. Yes, I do have a cardboard wrestling belt. The King of Cardboard. Yeah, so here are all the little pieces I got here. Here are my instructions. I said this, and, I have done papercraft. I've never done this particular thing. I'm going to do my best with it. I got my photo. It's the same thing that you have on either side, but I'm going to keep that as reference. And I'm just going to do my best, because that's all I can do. It's just my best, and we'll figure this out. The instructions on this are incredibly minimal, and I'm just going to take my time with it and see what happens. If I mess stuff up, well, I'm gluing it, so can always do that. Now, normally what people do is they take out each piece here. So most of this is cut. I'm just making I'm just hitting the pieces that are separating it, because one of the cool things is these are cut or laser etched or whatever, but you can kind of even see it by doing in the back. I don't have to do much to separate these. And I don't want to do too much because I don't want to break anything. So that's a 1 there. I'm going to try to make sure I'm doing this so you can see what I'm doing. I could do that. And then, yeah, I could do that. I'm still figuring this out. I'm going to test a bunch before Monday's stream to make sure that I'm doing this in a way that is presentable for y'all in practice, because I am working on the smallest things I've ever worked on. I think as I go, I will get less nervous, but right now I am pretty nervous about all of this. And I don't want to be. So that's 2. 3 is... like that piece of the umbrella, like this piece is so small. It makes me so nervous. But it'll be okay. And there is a wiggle line on some of this, which is good because it does kind of let you know, like, this is the side you want to glue stuff to. So that's nice. Or line it up. It's good. But yeah, I watched a bunch of videos. Hey, here's a weird thing. Not weird. Not weird at all. Most of the videos of people doing papercraft are sped up. Because of course they are. So I actually downloaded a video of someone who did this exact kit. And I just ripped the video and then took all the footage and slowed it down to watch a segment of it. Because I'm, still nervous about doing this. Oops. Sorry. You can see my layers there. Okay. So, that's done. We've got our layers here. That's set there. So what we'll do is we'll just I'm going to layer everything together and take a look at it. Then I will glue it together as best I can. Here, we'll just do it like that. Yeah. So we're doing our umbrella, Totoro's umbrella. And just kind of layering everything together here. Getting an idea of how it's supposed to look. And then we will spread glue and connect pieces together. Let it dry and then move on to the next thing. I knew it was going to be small. I didn't realize how small this was going to be when I looked at it. But this is going to be pretty small. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the bigger pieces first. It's kind of fun having a thing where it's been fun about the 86 my glue kit, and then doing this as well is I actually can talk about the actual kit and the process, which, nowadays we've gotten to the point where our model kit building where we don't really talk about what I'm doing because it's all stuff we've done before, because it's all kits we've done before. So it's kind of fun to like have to talk about like the kit. So we'll just kind of spread this out. Just using regular Elmer's glue here, as I said. And then lining it up and adhering it. Clean off whatever we need. I'll do less glue on the next one. And we'll just put that there. We can even hold it in our tweezers if we want as we get the next one set up, which is that. And one of the nice things about having these LED lights, or not these LED lights, these the lights I use for my green screen, is that I have a lot of light right now for this, which is great because otherwise I would be very nervous about doing this if I didn't have so much light. Okay, so we'll put this there and spread some glue out. So that foliage, Ultron, I'm not sure what this shit is. It's just like tiny little, I think it's literally fake astroturf, or it's astroturf. I think it's just fake foliage, but I haven't investigated it yet. So I'm not really sure. Flocking, yeah. Weed. They sent me a bag of weed. Yeah. Yes, they sent me weed. You're totally right. All right. So okay. Gotta line this up. All right. Put that there. We'll let that dry for a second while I get these. I'm going to get these other two pieces connected, and then I will connect them all together. We'll do it like that. All right. Yeah. As I said, as I go, I will get less nervous about all of this. Right now, I am very nervous about it, and I think it'll feel a lot smoother. I'll feel a lot more comfortable as this process goes on. Got to make sure my arms aren't. I'm going to find a better place to store some of this. The instructions are so small. Everything is small in this, including the instructions. All right. So let's let this sit together. I'm just going to clamp these together. Also, it's warm, which is good. It should make everything kind of stick together faster. Heat up the glue a little bit in the air. But yeah, while I'm letting these two pieces sit, look at this. This is our instructions for the whole thing. It's just a sheet of paper. It's just a sheet of paper. A lot going on. Yeah, I'm not. So basically, like the trees are just like, here's the frames of the tree, then cover it with this shit. And that's another thing where I'm gonna look up the instructions later again, or look up a video of someone making it. As I said, I have a video where I slowed it down, so I'll be able to kind of watch it, observe it. All right, now I'm going to adhere the two pieces together. So for umbrella. Oops. That's too much glue. That's way too much glue. Okay. And I'll just reapply. As I said, as I do this, it'll all feel better and make all sense. Nice and simple, right? Yeah. Yes, indeed. Nice and easy. Nice and simple. Alright, and then I'm just going to clamp this in, kind of let it set by using my tweezers to keep it all together. And then what I'll have to do for Monday is just scrape my thing, make sure I'm getting all the excess glue off of it. What did I even do? Oh, there it is. Alright, and we can get the hand of Totoro is the next thing we're going to do, which is B. Let's see. D. Where's the hand of Totoro? J. D. E. F. G. No. Where is it? Here. Okay. Oh. Something or other. Gotta find B. Where'd B go? Yeah, I want to do one more thing just so we get a little work done today. So we'll do that, and I gotta find B2 and B3. B2 and B3. Not found that. J, K, L, M, C. This is C. I know that. Where is B? I. That's E and F and G. There's D, H. This is I. This is just some weird P. Oh, this is the base. That's C. Alright, I don't have to dig through because I don't. Oh, here it is. I found it. Don't worry about it, guys. I found it. The hand of Totoro's with secret anime attack. I like that. Here is B. B's important because it's also the front of Totoro. It fell. I'll have to organize these before Monday because we're gonna put this aside here. We're gonna call this our umbrella is done. We did an umbrella, and I want to get a little bit of Totoro's hand done, and then we'll call it a show. Next stream is going to be on Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Schedule should be the same as always. I'm not doing a bonus stream next week. I often do, but I have a gig that's a lot of hours, but it's money. It's a contract gig, and I can't. So I'm actually going to be working Wednesday, all Wednesday, and then a lot of Thursday. So I'm not planning on doing a bonus stream this week. But my normal streams, Monday, Thursday, Saturday. Saturday's the last stream of the month, so Thursday's the last stream of the month, so consider coming to that. Saturday will be the first stream of the next month. Let's see. Is there anything else coming up? June is my birthday month, so consider buying something off my wish list, becoming a subscriber, all that. It's the end of the month, but I'll mention it all month long if it means that I can increase having the numbers going up. It's always nice. And then, so that's something. Oh, my streams will be in the normal time right now. That's the plan, is to do normal time. But and I'll say this a bunch, I am going to do an early stream the week of E3 because my Thursday stream, my Monday stream will be normal. I don't care if my Monday stream conflicts with Giant Bomb's E3 hangout night, because it certainly will. But that Thursday, I don't want to miss the live show of Boys, Vinyaki, Lang, whoever. So last year, we're going to do what we did last year, which is I'm just going to stream early before the Giant Bomb stream because I never mind competing with things, but I don't want to compete with that because I want to watch it. So it just makes sense to not do an early stream or to do an early stream that Thursday. But other than that, my normal streams will be their normal time. I just know that that's not feasible. Doesn't make any sense, and I want to see it live anyway. That Monday, it's like if they do a show. Often they don't do a show on Monday. Usually they don't. Sometimes they just do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So if they do a Monday one, they do a Monday one, whatever. But I feel like that is the plan anyway, and I will deal with the consequences if there's a conflict. But the greatest hour of the internet is the last hour on Thursday. Indeed, the last segment. Yeah, I mean it's just a thing of like, I don't know. I know that Johnny's got his hands full with the project right now. I don't want to say anything about it. I only know the minors of things. I just know Johnny's got stuff going on, so I don't want to. I don't know. I'm sure he'll be at E3. Of course, Lang will be there, and Boys will be there. But like, I'm just assuming that they will keep the streak alive, and therefore I don't want to compete with that. But other than that, my stream schedule remains the same of Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern. Once again, join me on Monday if you can. I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thanks for hanging out. But they end up doing it. Yes, Epic World. And if I'm not, I'm sure that they'll just be nonsense because it'll be the end of E3, and doing an early stream every now and again is fine. I'll be there pre-show. I don't care. Thank you very much. Thanks for everybody for watching. I'm just going to finish up this little Totoro hand here, and then we will end the stream. Thanks so much for watching. Hope to see you all on Monday. Thanks for people that haven't stopped in a while. Thanks for folks that are here every time. That's going to be it. I'm just going to let this dry in my tweezers, and I'll see you next time in the Baer Workshop. Bye-bye.